Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Nick here, and I really want to talk to you guys today about the overall market. But first, I do want to apologize for my absence on videos. Um, if you guys didn't catch my update on my Twitter, basically what happened was one of my drives on my computer failed, and I couldn't boot Windows, so I couldn't record videos. But now we are back in full force, and I'm ready to pump out some videos for you guys. But first, I want to address the overall market. So, if you guys have been following me, Bitcoin dominance has been a big key, eye to me. This is something that I've been watching very, very closely. Now, right now, I believe that we are in if we're really looking at it from, a technical standpoint, I believe that we are kind of ranging into what was the beginning of the 2017 to 2018 bull run. And if we look at this, so let me zoom out a little bit. If we look at this, I believe that what we're seeing here is what we actually seen here because technically speaking, we didn't hit 49, which was the run down on this candle, uh, yet. Now, it doesn't mean that we needed to hit 49 because if you guys actually look here, that was a key support level that it needed to hit here, and we actually bounced from there. As I mentioned on my Twitter, a key support level here was actually around 50 to 52, and we did hit that 50 mark almost exact before bouncing back to about 52.4 to 52.5. We've been kind of ranging a little bit. And I believe that that is the same support level that we are hitting, that we hit here before going up a little bit. Now, of course, I don't think that we're going to go back to 70. I think that we're realistically going to go back to like 56. That would be, a ideal range before going much, much lower. Now, I think that at the end of the day, it would be something very similar to this pattern. So if we actually did a bar graph and kind of replicated this entire move, so it would be, actually, let's start from over here. We'll just actually do this whole mark. So, oh, sorry about that. So essentially, if we're looking at this from, a bounce before coming down, actually, technically, we would be on this sort of level. So technically, I think that we're doing the same movement here. Now, of course, this one ranged lower. This one ranged technically to 49. And if we kind of do something like this, kind of space it out a little bit, you can see that it's kind of following that same pattern down before I think, we come up a little bit. Now 62 is a little too high for me. I think like at that point, like, we kind of scratched the surface of, Bitcoin kind of taking the wheel. Of course, this is just using the bar graph from 2017 to 2018's bull run, but I think that we're going to trade similar to something like this, where we do bounce back a little bit again to 55 to 56, trade sideways a little bit. Of course, we hate the doomsday sideways trading. It always sucks. It's a bore fest to watch. But I think that we trade sideways a little bit, bounce a little bit more to around, again, 56 to 57, and then breaking down, down, down until we're obviously at these 30, levels. Now, again, it would be something more so where we get our main finish probably around, I would say, the end of December, almost the start of January. So something like that. Now, of course, this bar graph is, a little too high in my opinion for a bounce back to around 70. So if I was to actually, just pretty much show you on a brush. Now, again, don't laugh at me. This is going to be rough, but I believe that we're doing something where we come down, we come back up a little bit to 55 to even 56, trade sideways a little bit before coming back up, trading a little bit sideways, and then just kind of slowly bleeding down to around, probably 35 would be our stopping point. So something like this. Now, again, this would lead us to that January pinpoint where I think that the end of December into January would be probably the end of alt season fully. Now, that doesn't mean that we're just going to pump until then. I think that we're going to pump pretty high into, the middle of summer, almost the end of summer. We'll get that strong pullback on all the alts. It's healthy before going much higher, leading us into, December into January. Now, I will mention on Twitter when I am selling. I will also mention in my Discord when I'm selling. So if you guys do want to check out both of them, you can. They are in the description. You are not, it's not a mandatory thing. You don't need to. I'm just saying I do really give away a bunch of knowledge on both of them regarding stuff like this. But nonetheless, that is Bitcoin dominance. That's where I'm seeing Bitcoin dominance go. I think that, if we don't break down from 52, because, we did hit key support levels here at 50 that we've seen previously back here, because I think that this is a really good pinpoint, to really draw an eye for support. And if I actually show you guys that on a horizontal line, I could show you that right now. So I think, mainly I was talking about this support level here. Now, even if we look, it's actually funny because we ranged a little bit lower than that support level on this candle here. And if you guys notice back here, this candle actually ranged a little bit lower than this one as well, kind of, following that same pattern as well. Now, of course, this was very, very close together, and this is nearly 2 years apart, but I still think that that is, pretty much a good way to kind of look at it. But overall, we could even see something where we come down and come a bit lower before touching those 57 levels and ranging down to kind of mimic that same pattern. Because overall, we've been pretty close. If we even look at XRP compared to the 2017 and 2018 bull run, it's following the same pattern nearly almost identically. So now it doesn't mean that patterns need to, follow the same thing or anything like that. But overall, I think that something like this would be a very good ideal range for Bitcoin dominance. And again, we really need Bitcoin dominance to fall for alts to really detach and fly. And I think that low cap coins like DNT are going to be, front runners for a very long time as well once that happens. Now, nonetheless, we're done with Bitcoin dominance. I've been on the subject for a very long time. I've been talking about it forever now. Let's talk about the serious business, and that is Bitcoin itself. So, we did really hit some low levels here. We hit $48,338 today, and for a lot of people who are new to this market, that is terrifying. And I understand that. I just want everybody to keep calm, just be collective. If you guys need to, kind of offset the stress by watching a movie, spending some quality time with family or something. Just alleviate your focus from the markets while something like this happens. It's the best advice I could give you, because no matter what you are going to think or do, you're going to have one decision that's going to always come back to you when you see red. And that is, I'm selling. Now, if you're not, if you're not a beginner and you're a veteran, you already know that, hey, I'm seeing red, I'm buying. You don't want to buy up here and sell here. You want to buy here and sell here, if anything. Now again, do I think that we could go lower on Bitcoin? 100%. Like I said, if 48K is breached, our next pinpoint, well, actually it was 48.5, and 48.5 was breached. I said we could see levels at, 47 to even lower at 45. Now again, we bounced off of 48.3. It doesn't mean that we're out of the clear. We could very much so be seeing that strong pullback to 38K that I've been talking about even since the beginning of March. Now, again, is 38K ideal? I mean, if it happens, it happens. We just have to buy. But it doesn't mean that the alt season is completely over. I just don't think that 38K is an ideal range for us to hit because, I mean, it's one of those support levels that, people want to buy at, but for the most part, it's something that is detrimental to the entire market cycle. Um, but like I said on my Twitter, corrections are needed. They're healthy for the next leg up. And realistically, I think that we're doing the same thing that we were doing back here, except I think the next run up is where we actually top out. Now, I mentioned many times on my Twitter that I believe that 75 to 85K is the top point. And I know that's going against what a lot of people are saying on YouTube and a lot of people that are saying on Twitter. They're saying 100K, 200K, 500K. Listen, at the end of the day, it could go much higher. But 75 to 85K is a strong, smart, ideal range where, we already pumped so high already. If we go back to even our lows back in March when, COVID really hit and we range up to where we are, where we just hit, that's over 1600%. So, for us to go to 100K, that's over 2600%. Now, we compare that back into the 2017 to 2018 bull run. And now, again, I totally understand that there's a lot more money in this game. It's a 5,000% run. And if we look at where we could go from our current low levels, which is again back in March, so around this level here, if we do a 5,000% run up, and I think this is where a lot of people are kind of getting that mentality of, hey, we're going to 200K, it would put us around, that 200K mark at about 215, 220. Now, I don't think that we're going to go that high. And the reason why I don't think that we go that high is because we're actually pretty far into this market cycle already. And I just don't think that there's enough money in Bitcoin at the moment. I don't think that there's going to be enough money pumped into Bitcoin either, because this is, even at the current ranges, like right now, this is a good buy area right now for Bitcoin, but nobody, like for the average, investor, nobody's actually going to buy at these levels to really boost the price up. A lot of, noob investors are going to be buying the cheapest coins on Coinbase, not, something that's already at $50,000. I mean, that doesn't mean that people won't buy. It just means that there's not going to be, as much volume pumped into it as people are thinking. Also, Bitcoin's been looking sluggish for a very long time, and, a dip like this, I feel like it was something that we were just kind of waiting for. We knew that at some point we did need to see another pullback, and that's why I think that 38K would have been so much better if we hit it back in March, where everybody, was calling me out saying, dude, just stop with the FUD, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I wanted 38K to be hit so bad, and I know a lot of people wanted 38K to be bad, to hit, to be hit bad. I apologize. Is because that was the 702 retracement level, where that would have been a healthy pullback that could swing us up to those all-time highs to really bring alts with it. And at that point, I believe that Bitcoin dominance would have been falling as well. But now, you know, we're trading a little bit sideways. We're seeing that dip, and I think that this is gonna be, in my opinion, the last buy opportunity that we have before we do range to those new highs. I just don't think that Bitcoin has the gas in the tank to hit that 200K mark. I think that, for the most part, it's ranged fairly high. It's pushed, to astronomical numbers that people would have never have guessed it to actually hit. Now, it doesn't mean that just from those reasons alone that it won't hit 200K. It's just overall, if we look at the pattern that it's following, it doesn't look like it's going to hit 200K this cycle. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to 200K, because in 2024 it could go to 200K. But I think for the most part, we are ranging to those all-time highs up here. But nonetheless, where do we see this going? What's happening with this? So, if we look at it going from the top here to our, I don't know. Oh, I guess the Fibonacci will change from the last graph. But overall, if we go from this fib level to around here, because this is our last main breaking point. So if we look at this realistically, we could range at this support and bounce off of it a little bit more, trading sideways. That would be the best point for us to do. I don't think that that's going to actually happen, though. I think what's realistically going to happen is we're going to come down a little bit lower, probably hit 46.5 before going back up to those all-time highs, because it really needs to get, I would say it needs to correct a little bit more. And I know that's terrible to say, because we are already down over 10%, but I still think that we need to range a little bit lower before we really go up in price to those 70 to 80K levels. Now, our main support here would be those 43 to 44K marks. Now, do I believe that we're going to hit those? I don't think so. I think for the most part we'll probably bounce off of a key support level that we've seen back here, like for an example 46.2 or even 47K flat. I mentioned on Twitter to a user, I forgot their name, but they said, where do you see this going? I said, hey, listen, if we break down below 48.5, which we did, we could be seeing about 47K, or we could see 45K, or we could see 43.5K. Now, if we look at this and if we're using this level here as our main support, and if we are using this as our main support as well for a medium tier, so realistically we're not too far off from hitting the 46.2 retracement period. Now, if we hit this and bounce, and we could break out above 43K or 53K, I apologize, that would be more crucial, because I feel like that is a resistance level. It's also a support level that we could break. Now, I said 52.5 was a key level that we needed to hold as well. We didn't, so we went much lower. Ultimately, what I would like to see is 46.2 hold. If we do get that low, like I said, we still need to break this level here as well. So it would be about 47. I'm going to say 47 flat. Um, if we break 47 flat, we'll probably hit that 46.2. Now, I would really hope for a bounce off of 46.2, a break above 53 to really say, hey, we are out of the dip, the correction's over, we are good. Now, it doesn't mean that this is going to be done in a day or 2 days. I think by the end of the weekend, we should have a clear note on where we are going with this, because I don't think really anybody knows what's going to happen next, because there's a lot of things that go in hand with this. We got some terrible news today that pushed stocks down. I think stocks were a key component to dragging us down, which we all know that. Nobody likes to get taxed 50% on $1 million, which is, 500K, with it ranging higher in most states. So, of course, we're going to go low. But the good thing about that, kind of news is most people already experienced that sort of FUD back in 2017 and even 2013, where we do range to new lows that are, they hurt. But I want to say right now, if this pullback hurts, just wait until you see the bear market, because this is only about I would say like a 13% pullback. Even if we look at this realistically, we could see what kind of pullback this would be. So it's about a 25% pullback from its all-time high. Now, I just want to stress the idea that, hey, in a bear market, we typically get an 80% dip. An 80% dip, and if you guys are hurting now, just imagine what 80% would be. So if we go 80%, that would put us around, 12K. Now that's where most of the alts that you are holding, they are going to hurt very bad if you still hold them. This is why we sell at the top and we buy back in on the bottom. Again, I will let you know when I am selling. I will let you know when I believe that the top is in. It doesn't mean that you have to sell when I sell. It's just I'm letting you know, hey, I'm out. This is my exit strategy. That's my point. Now, why am I even talking about this? Why are we even talking about, the exit strategy? Because I believe that we're ranging into the beginning of a full-blown alt season. We've already been talking about this. It's not even, it's really not even a statement that should be a surprising statement, because we've already known that this alt season's happening. It's happening pretty fast too. Even if you've been waiting for 3 years, it's something that came very quick, and now we're seeing sort of a slow movement that nobody likes to see, especially if we've been holding for a very long time. But patience is key in this game. Not only is patience key, but also keeping your emotions on the down end point. You really need to not let your emotions boil over. That's where things get messy. That's where you lose assets. That's where you lose money. This is a money-making game. The bottom is not, or the top is not in yet, and neither is the bottom either. So, realistically speaking, a pullback to even 43K would not be something that is that bad. If we touch 43K, or even if we touch 38K, I don't think that this alt season's over, it's the end. I think that we could easily bounce and go to those new highs. Again, we really need to see what happens at the end of the weekend, because Sunday is a good telling point, because that's not only a daily close, but it's also a weekly close. Now, if we are still closed on red on Sunday, then we kind of flip to a bearish signal, where we are more bearish on Bitcoin, not in terms of, hey, we're in a bear run now. It doesn't mean that, the bull runs off the table or anything. It just means, hey, we don't know where Bitcoin is exactly going. It could be going much lower. But again, we need to know what, levels they're at for that, because realistically, we've broken down fairly quick, fairly fast as well. I think that we were almost bouncing back in terms of the whole market after getting that dip before the FUD today in terms of the news. So, nonetheless, these are some key levels to note. I think a break above 53K is very telling in terms of where we're going to be going. But not only that, but I think that a breakdown below 47K is where we get into the treacherous waves. So, nonetheless, if you guys want some free knowledge, definitely check out my Twitter, definitely check out my Discord. I reply to pretty much everyone, so if you have a question or a concern, just hit me up on Twitter, and I will definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible. Nonetheless, we are back in full bloom, and I'm very, very excited to bring you guys more content. Bear with me in terms of just kind of getting more and more videos out there. I plan on uploading a lot more. Not only that, but I plan on getting an update out on HBAR, DNT, XRP, and also a few other projects. I really want to talk about Matic because Matic is a giant in this space, and I think that you guys are going to be very excited for me to talk about it since I've been talking about it on my Twitter forever now. So, nonetheless, guys, this has been Nick. I will talk to you all later, and nonetheless, let's get this money, and yeah, let's change our lives. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and peace out.